Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday morning. It's Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. Coming to you with a little bit of a breaking news story this Sunday morning, which is why you got my nice, sultry, silky smooth Sunday morning voice here. This is my Casey Kasem in the morning. If you're over 30 years old, you might get that reference. Hollywood strike averted as Iatse and AMPTP reached deal on new film and TV contract. Hey, hold on. Don't go away. This is more interesting than you might think. This is progress. This is the power of negotiating with your peers for better work conditions. We'll get into this. I'll read the article. We'll talk about how this is affecting Bachelor Nation, Bachelor producers. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We're hustling on a Sunday morning. Hit the like button, and if you want, you can follow my journeys today. Right after this video, my fiance and I are driving a few hours away to go to an olive oil harvest festival, and you can follow all of that on my Instagram at DNeals. We'll be posting live updates. A fan, an audience member of our Bachelor channel, has a beautiful olive oil company, and we'll be out there enjoying the harvest. What a fun Sunday thing to do. All right, let's get right into this. So we've got the Deadline article. If you haven't been following, the strike was set to start tomorrow morning, which means anyone who works in Iatse, which includes editors, behind the scenes, they call it below the line people. So talent that's, or I should say production people that aren't on camera, different people that work on the production for Bachelor, along with dozens, if not hundreds of other productions, would have come to a halt. If the strike starts tomorrow, the current filming of the Bachelor season would have just stopped. Everyone book a flight home. You're done. Pause. How long could that last? Days, weeks, months, heck, until they get a deal that is fair. Now, one of the reasons why they were going on strike is because of this raw deal that was given to New Media Production several years ago. New Media Production at the time was webisodes. It was people that didn't have funding for actual, full production. So they said, you know what? Because the people don't have as much funding for like traditional media, we'll give them a lesser deal. People will make less money, but it's all for the good cause. And then Netflix exploded, and Disney Plus, and Hulu, and HBO Max, Go, HBO Now. Too many HBOs. HBO Latino. They got HBO straight white guy. It's just straight white guy content on HBO. That's the original HBO. They got it as Sopranos. Hey, what are you doing? They got it all. They got it all. And everyone's making more money, and the pandemic begins, and everyone's streaming services as they sit at home, and Hollywood's never been stronger. There's never been more content being made. There's a global reach, X, Y, and Z, and who didn't get a new contract? The people that worked hard to make this happen. I know firsthand stories where you show up to work and there's a memorial, and you go, why is there a memorial? Because you show up to a gig, and the day before, somebody passed away because they worked a 17-hour gig, and they had a 90-minute drive home, and they fell asleep at the wheel. It's all too common. It happens way too often, and it's not perfect. So we'll get into what still needs to be fixed out there, but it is progress, and progress isn't always perfection, but it at least is moving in the right direction. This is good for anyone who considers himself a worker. With Hollywood on edge and picket signs at the ready, Iatse and the AMPTP have reached an agreement on a new film and TV contract averting a threatened nationwide strike. This is what has to happen, folks. You got to vote with your dollar. You got to vote with your peers. You got to link up, because if you don't, you'll get fired, and they'll find someone who can do the job 1 penny cheaper. It's a race to the bottom. We're seeing it at Amazon, where people have to have piss bottles because they don't have time to take a bathroom break. Livable conditions. That's what folks are after. Livable conditions. Being able to work to live. It's just ridiculous. The new 3-year contract, which must now be ratified by the union's members, comes just hours before the deadline, midnight Sunday, imposed by Iatse President Matthew Loeb. The union and Carol Lombardini-led AMPTP are expected to make the agreement public very shortly. AMPTP, and I'm no expert here, but if you ever watch any stories about how entertainment used to be, there'd be 2 or 3, maybe 4 studios, and they controlled everything. They would sign actors to 7-year agreements. They would bury people. They would make it so people can't work in the industry in other places. They controlled everything. It's the reason the Screen Actors Guild had to come about. AFTRA, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, which now has been absorbed by SAG. SAG-AFTRA is the same union. When I started, they were separate. Collective bargaining. And there's a ton that's wrong with these unions. There's a ton that needs to be improved. But boy, is it better than what existed when it was just every man fighting for themselves. It took a lot to get here, but this is a good deal, a fair deal for everyone concerned. An individual close to the sometimes strained negotiations told Deadline once all the final contract language was agreed on Saturday. Time to break out the cigars, the individual added. This is a Hollywood ending. Our members stood firm. They're tough and united. We went toe to toe with some of the richest and most powerful entertainment and tech companies in the world, and we have now reached an agreement with the AMPTP that meets our members' needs. Yeah, speaking of which, Disney. These are billion-dollar companies they're going toe-to-toe with, which, by the way, I know this is a separate issue, but Bernie Sanders, some people go, oh, this socialist, what's he doing? Well, you know what Bernie did when he lost the presidential primary in 2016? Do you guys know what he did? He went to Disney, and he marched and helped them organize so they could get a livable wage to make $15 an hour at their theme parks. He did things like that. He's doing things like that in small pockets where change might not be able to be made on a federal level, but getting somebody livable wage, minimum wage shouldn't be the bare minimum a teenager can survive off of. Minimum wage should be what someone who works 40 hours a week can make to afford to live at a decent place and to pay for their family's food and maybe health care. Isn't that what minimum wage should be? If they actually did the minimum wage calculator for today's world, it'd probably be somewhere in the $40 an hour. That's where it probably would be, right? Due to inflation, minimum wage hasn't changed in an ungodly amount of time. It's a real sad thing. Solidarity is more than a word. It's a way to get things done. Our members will see significant improvements, but our employers also will benefit, said Mike Miller, Vice President and Motion Picture Director for Iatse. This settlement allows pre-production, production, and post-production to continue without interruption. Workers should have improved morale and be more alert. Health and safety standards have been upgraded. And you know what's very fascinating about this is that working in entertainment, I've seen people come together from all different unions to say, we support you. We support your bare minimum asks. This is a huge win for the union members. It's a huge win for Americans because we're all in this great readjustment that they're calling it, where people are saying, we don't want to go back to work. We've realized how little we're making while the top percent, the CEOs, the owners, the top percentage of people have just made so much wealth that living in the richest nation in the world, we really shouldn't have to worry about these things. Now, to think Bachelor, because that's what we talk about on our channel, is a sort of conversation of all of that. You've got a show where people are going on it to find love. And you have the producers that are making an ungodly amount of money. And then you have production assistants hanging out behind a bush as they watch people fall in love. This is what happens. So behind the scenes of The Bachelor, while they may pay certain people good amounts of money and the producers make good money and this and that, there's always going to be people that are getting the raw end of the deal. And we just don't see it. You don't see that when the cameras are on. You only see the final product. The deal for the new contract, called the Basic Agreement, is now in the books, but negotiations with the AMPTP will continue for members who work under the Similar Area Standards Agreement in major production hubs such as New Mexico, New York, Illinois, Georgia, and Louisiana. More details are to come, but deal points include improved wages and working conditions for streaming. 10-hour turnaround times between shifts. So if you worked, and again, this isn't great, but you should see what it was. A 10-hour turnaround. If you work a job that's an hour drive away, which happens when you work on location, sometimes even more, and you work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., that means you don't have to start the next day till 7 a.m. It's not much of a turnaround. It's still a tough working condition, but people weren't even getting in a lot of, I believe in the Screen Actors Guild, it could be a 10-hour turnaround, but I think for some performers, they negotiate. If you work 10 hours, you get 10-hour turnaround. If you work 13 hours, you get a 13-hour turnaround. Having a 12-hour turnaround is usually the norm. And if you work a 9-to-5 job, you get like a 15-hour turnaround, right? So in most jobs, it would be ridiculous to think you'd have less than a 10-hour turnaround. And what I mean by 10-hour turnaround, of course, is time off, time where you're not working for someone else, to be with your family, to cook dinner, to help your kid with homework, to just live, to just restore your energy. More details are to come, but deal points include improved wages. We got that. Diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, increased funding of the health and pension plans, and a 3+% rate increase every year for the duration of the yet to be approved contract, among other changes. Wouldn't it be nice? I mean, isn't it nice to be when you're in a union and you just have a negotiated raise every year? In Screen Actors Guild, I think that it's like a 3 or 4% raise you get every year. I think it's every 6 months. So like, you don't have to be like, all right, I think I'm due for a new raise. You know, my fiance and I, we've both worked jobs where 5 years into a job and you don't receive a raise. And people might go, well, then just find a better job. Blah, 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 blah. You know, talking points. No. How about a collective where we progress forward and don't have to go on strike every year to get basic demands met? How about that? So I'm going to share with you guys what I find to be one of the funniest videos I've ever watched. It is amazing. I'm going to play this for you in a few minutes here. It's someone rage quitting, and rage quitting is something that I feel like should be and is a great American pastime because people are just done. I'm in this a Reddit community called Anti-Work, and the idea isn't that people don't want to work. The idea is that people don't want to work jobs where they're not appreciated and they're not treated with basic human value, right? So now we're living in a world where there's a huge work shortage for bartenders, wait staff. There's certain industries in hospitality where they can't find enough workers, and workers are going, oh, you're going to message me to come into a shift during my off day when I get one off day a week, and you're going to be rude to me? I think I'll find another place to work. Isn't that beautiful leverage? Isn't it nice? And for people might disagree, and chances are, if you do disagree, chances are it might be because of Stockholm Syndrome, because you're in a position where you have no power at your job. I totally get it. As an employee, what people need to realize is all of the ants that are building the system, the ant farm, they're the ones with the power, not the people that are up above. And, you know, people say, well, you know, they ingrain this work ethic and pride, this like Americans work hard. Hate to break it to you, studied abroad in France. Plenty of studies show that the French and other European countries work harder per hour worked. Oh, you guys aren't going to want to hear this one. Cover your ears. And we actually don't work hard. We sometimes will hide out at our jobs until our boss leaves, and then it's time for us to leave. We steal company hours watching YouTube videos, which I'd fully support. We do certain things because we have this unrealistic expectation that we should be working ourselves to the grave. And what we're realizing during this great readjustment is, hey, maybe not. Maybe that's not the answer. Maybe we could all work 3 hours a day and get just as much production done. You know what I mean? All right, I'm going to leave you guys with this video. It's 3 minutes long. It's worth every second. And this is called Joey Quits. This is from my great state of Rhode Island. It's got millions and millions of views. It's actually from 10 years ago. Joey quits. Worker quits hotel job with marching band. I'm going to play this. It's not worth me talking after it. This will be my video for today. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I will say this right before I play this video. There were some tweets from people that were not happy with how it all went down. My friend Erica said, seriously, from a local 800, which is a subdivision, I guess, of the union, it was all white men. So the whole deal was negotiated apparently by a room full of white men. And of course, you want to be inclusive to all different genders and races, or at least a goodwill amount of diversity, so that whatever it is that you're negotiating for in your contracts, that obviously people with different demands and needs, obviously you want women in the room so you can talk about proper maternity leave and things like that. That's a whole different issue that we'll have to dive into when it comes to what the actual agreements are. What we know right now is that the work on The Bachelor won't halt tomorrow. Starting tonight at midnight, hours from now, it won't halt, and the show will go on. And all other details we will be reporting here. In the meantime, let's watch Joey quit. You guys enjoy this video, and thanks so much for being supportive and checking out my weekend content. You're going to love this.
Right. Ready? Okay. My name's I've worked in this hotel, the Providence Renaissance, for 3.5 years. They treat us like shit here, and I'm going to go in and quit right now with the help of my bandmates in the What Cheer Brigade.
Ragtag bunch.
So here we go through the employee entrance now.
Decides to quit in epic fashion. Don't you love the employee entrance of hotels? It's always just grimy. It goes to show like the social divide between the front of the house and the back of the house. I've watched this 10 times in the last day. I showed this to Tasha. She loved it. She was smiling ear to ear. Tasha loves a good rage quit. Employees have the power, guys. Don't forget this. Talk to your fellow employees. Know what everyone's getting paid. Have those conversations. Here he goes. Here goes Joey. 3 days without an accident. This department has worked 3 days without a lost time accident. He's coming, guys. Get the trumpet ready. All right, blur out the other people.
What the hell is this?
Here he is. All right.
Guys, what is this? Guys, all of you out right now.
Jared, I'm here to tell you that I'm quitting.
What? Oh.
That's the video. Thank you guys so much. Everyone have a great rest of your weekend. Have a beverage for your boy Dave. I will see you guys out there bright and early tomorrow morning. Tons of content coming your way. God bless y'all. God bless America. And congratulations to Iatse. And good luck to everyone else out there. Bye.